while I was looking through comments that I hadn't replied to, I found this guy on my original Jesko Absolute review video from ages ago. And he said that I should do this vid. So, here is this vid. So, shout out to this guy for suggesting it. Hello. Hello everyone, welcome back to CDT. It is me, Ditto, and for the first time in this new review style, we're doing a twin test, which is technically only the second and also only the third twin test I've ever done. Technically the second because there's only one twin test on my channel right now, but it can also be counted as the third because I had to take one of the twin tests down because it didn't record fully and I hadn't realised. Ignore that. Anyway, so as I mentioned, this was suggested by, a commenter. So we're testing the two Titans, the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute and the Bugatti Bolide. So, first, the Absolute. This is the top speed version of Koenigsegg's Jesko attack. And the Jesko actually has a very cool story. Christian von Koenigsegg's father is a guy named Jesko von Koenigsegg. And he, according to Koenigsegg, and I'm going to trust this guy, was very cool. He was the person that supported Christian when he was just starting out his supercar business. Which has, became what we know and love today. But to celebrate his Jesko's birthday, I believe it was his 50th? No, it was more than that. Anyway, on one of his big birthdays, Christian decided to make him the Koenigsegg Jesko. Now, this is a production car, this is not a one-off, although they're still ludicrously rare. In fact, the Jesko and the Jesko Absolute combined, because they're technically the same, are the highest production Koenigseggs ever. 125 total units of the attack. I'm not sure what the numbers for the Absolute are. Anyway, so Jesko actually didn't know what the new name of the new Koenigsegg was going to be. In fact, Koenigsegg lied to him. He even made a fake press release, told him a different name, and when it came to the real release at I can't remember which motor show it was at, Jesko was there, and it's a really nice story, and I absolutely love it. Just goes to show that a little confidence right at the start can go a long, long way. And now the Bolide. And this is a CDT. I'm not sure whether to call it a legend or not, because while it was effectively the first limited hypercar to be added, I believe, and it was also the fastest for a little while. Actually, I'm not too sure on how this car was. I know it came before the 300 Plus and the 919, therefore it's the first member of the big three. But I'm not sure if the Jesko Absolute wasn't already out before it. I do know, however, it was the first car with a perfect 10 handling. And it's also, still to this day, the most expensive car in CDT. It was 25 million in original sale and 37.5 million in resale. It's also the most reselled car in CDT. Its most recent appearance in the Easter Limited shop brings that number up to 6 times, making it a very common hypercar. And yet people still bloody want it back, for God's sake. We should test the performance now. Remember, these are two of the fastest cars in the game. So, let's do that. Off the line, this is a rear-wheel drive car, the Jesko Absolute. I think there's like a speed trick you can do to make it go really quick. I can't remember what it is. But even without that, this is still a mind-blowingly quick car. Highest top speed of any normal car in the game. Not counting the funny car and the top fuel dragster. Meaning it does 310 miles an hour. And it sends all of that through a 9-speed gearbox. Which isn't accurate to real life. In real life, this thing has what's called a light speed transmission. And it effectively works like the gears on a push bike. You can sort of pick combinations. Which is quite cool and very clever. That pretty much sums up every Koenigsegg thing ever, though. And now we go to the Bolide. This is a 300 mile an hour car. And off the line, all-wheel drive. I think it's actually less quick than the Jesko Absolute. But obviously still very quick. And of course it makes up for the performance slight deficit. Yeah, 300 miles an hour is slightly too slow. I'm kidding. With the 10 handling. Which we're going to test now, actually. Because that's where the Bolide should make some points up. Jesko has 9.5 handling. Bolide has 10. You do the maths. So, first, the Absolute. Rear-wheel drive and 9.5 handling, which means it should be interesting. And it isn't too bad. It's worse than it's better than you're expecting, because you're expecting it to be the worst thing in the world. Especially when it has all this power and not even perfect handling. Although it is genuinely quite impressive. The turning is a little off. I'm not saying it's terrible, but just feels slightly bad. And I am driving it terribly. But I've got to admit, driving feel-wise, I like it. The handling's not terrible, just slightly subpar, especially after you've just been driving the Bolide. As I shall now demonstrate to you. Perfect 10 handling. It shows it's not quite as good as the 919 or the 300 plus. And I should know because I have both. But it is certainly better than the Absolute. And you can really feel that. It's good. You sort of tend to actually go into corners slightly too slow. Because you feel like it's going to handle worse. But it doesn't. It handles well, and I've just crashed it. Yep, no matter how well you handle Bolide, I'm still going to crash you. But yeah, I have to admit, especially after you've just got out of a Jesko Absolute, it does feel better. And I like that. And now we go drifting in a rear-wheel drive Koenigsegg. Woohoo. Anyway, I'm expecting it to be bad. But it's not. The Koenigsegg is actually quite grippy. But not too grippy so that you can still slide it properly. Like rear-wheel drive Koenigsegg's of old. Only actually better than the old rear-wheel drive Koenigseggs because this one doesn't try and kill you. Cough CCX, cough CCR, cough CCXR, cough CCGT, cough pretty much any CC or Agera series. Anyway, it does feel a little too grippy at the back, but I don't mind it, because this is obviously not intended to drift. This is intended to go as fast as possible in a straight line, and be able to corner just well enough that it won't kill you. Properly like an old Koenigsegg. And I like that. And now the Bolide. I completely missed the turn-in for that. You can 360 it, as me and CDT knows, because he does it in his intro. But, okay, I have just spun it. I promise I'm on standard types, guys. Look, I'll show you. There's the tread. Right, we're gonna put in a bit of speed. It's grippy. It's really grippy. It's too grippy. So that it's fidgety when you drift at low speeds, and lethal when you drift at high speeds. It's not good to drift. I mean, the Unicorn is all-wheel drive, and so's this. That's just a random piece of information that doesn't actually have any meaning. It's too grippy. It doesn't drift. This is definitely a car where you leave it to what it's intended to do, which is track driving. So let's do just that, only we're going to do the Jesko Absolute first. Here we are, on the line with the Jesko Absolute, the lovely Koenigsegg. Let's see how things go. First corner. I had to do a little bit of braking there and there, just to keep it going round properly. Took that way too wide. This is, as it feels like, much more of a straight line car, or a cruise, not a track and corners car. The handling doesn't do it justice in that respect. I mean, it's not nerfed from real life as much as the Jesko Attack is, though, so there's that. Anyway, this has given us a lap time of 40.3. Okay. That was actually slower than what I was expecting. So, I guess it's all down to the Bolide to show us how it's done in the handling department. And now we're here with the Bugatti Bolide. 10 handling should be better than the Jesko Absolute, I hope. Right, let's find it. Only had to lift through there and once, not brake twice like I did with the Jesko, in separate corners. So obviously we're a little slower on the straight, but we can go up to the corner faster because we can turn more and brake better. If I actually turn too much for that corner, just shows you how good the handling on this thing is. And oh look, we're actually so much quicker than the Jesko Absolute. That's 39 dead, and I still feel like I can go faster. Whereas with the Jesko Absolute, I really felt like I'd hit a wall. So it says a lot, but there is something to remember. I was asked to make this video by a viewer. Well, I was given the idea for it anyway. And on the face of it, it seems a really good idea. You're comparing what the 3-year-old say are the two best cars in CDT, and these two cars certainly do lock horns quite often. But the problem is, they're chalk and cheese. The Jesko Absolute, that's for grinding with. And that's just, you know, a top speed car and for the highway race. The Bolide is a track car. So, it's your choice. Pick the one with more top speed, more acceleration, a bigger dealership reward, a bigger reward per mile, or pick the one with 10 handling. Both of which make a statement, but I feel like the Bolide makes more of one. And put it this way. There's only one on display out there. I'll leave you on that note. Thank you for watching. Remember, the first of my brand new series, long-term reviews, is going up tomorrow. Be there. I said I'd upload all of them at 11 o'clock, but I'm probably not even going to be awake by then, to be honest. See you then, hopefully. Subscribe. Take care.